So, Merlin, I mean, he seems like he's getting a little crankier these days. What do you think? I don't know. But
I don't know that I don't know a different Merlin. I mean, uh, he's always been cranky. It's I've always thought it was kind of cool to have this guy who is, making a living as an individual on the internet, a consultant, an
yeah.
entrepreneur, whatever you want to call him on the internet, and rail against the very things that everybody says you have to do to be successful, to be an independent independent internet famous person these days. Um, he's just kind of, and Gruber's the same way. He's just like, I write what I like and fuck the rest.
Yep.
Um, and, there's a lot of value in that. Doreen and I were talking the other day that, I think there's an equally large number of people that are just the opposite of every social media expert and, Guy Kawasaki acolyte, whether they know it or not.
Right.
Um, there's an opposite number of folks who, just uh, take themselves less seriously and are a little more real about things and don't have to always be linking or have learned how to compartmentalize those different facets of their life, um, as to not annoy people. And it's kind of like this the quiet web of people. These people who are just fine just reading things. They don't have to always tell 50 jokes a day or link to 3 to 7 different interesting articles or have an article that's 3 to 7 interesting articles out on the net. Um,
Yeah.
so, it's I think there's balance there. It's just that on the one side, everybody's like too cool to actually put a pin on it and say, "Hey, this is what it is, and this is how you do it," um, because that in itself is douchey, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. No, I know. It's I actually am. I wrestle with that now because for 3 weeks now I've started a new job, and I am now a social media manager. And trust me, it's like I wrestle with like this self-loathing type of thing every
Hmm.
day. And but I tell everybody, it's like, but yeah, but I'm the good kind of social media manager,
Yeah,
because see, I'm the guy who thinks it's all bullshit. And so,
yeah,
I'm going to tell you what things are actual and real, and not just, well, we need to,
right.
yeah, we need to make sure and set up, this, that, and the, just because everybody else is doing it. So, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
seriously, that segment, that I don't know, that job category needs a kind of a Shane, a reluctant hero, um, to go in there and just do things a little more sensibly. Not every Twitter account needs to be Times Square. There's plenty you can do. You can say a lot without posting over and over and over again.
yeah.
I mean, like, myself and others like me for, well, Adam Lissagor is a perfect example. The guy is an independent. He's making it on his own, and he's not always self pimping. He's not, everything he puts out there is kind of like, hey, this is what I worked on. This is what I did. And he's not saying, hey, you should buy Flipboard or you should use Flipboard or you should, use Square, even though he's the pitchman for those products. He's just, when he announces these things, it's a real subtle distinction. It's like, hey, look what I made. And people enjoy his products or his things,
Yeah.
and it shows. I mean, those things have been wildly popular.
Oh yeah, and the nice thing about Adam is I think that he's very, very smart about the things that he chooses to endorse. So I mean, and it's something that says to quality, and and quite honestly, I wouldn't be what 10 to 12 interviews into this whole thing that I'm doing now if it wasn't for Adam. He was like the first guy
Right,
that ever said, yeah, I'll sit down and talk with you. So
right on.
and that's awesome. And the same thing with Merlin. If it wasn't for Adam and Merlin, the first two videos that I ever did for these things. I mean,
Right.
I probably still
Right.
I wouldn't be doing these. That's for sure.